everybody, welcome to another MB Zoomer video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to mount Ultra Bee brakes on the front wheel of your Sur-Ron Light Bee using this Ultra Bee mounting kit from mbzmoto.com. So with the kit you're going to get your Ultra Bee front brake set. This is a right hand lever and then a shorter brake line that goes down to a caliper. These are all authentic from the Sur-Ron factory. Next up, you're getting your adapter bracket. This is what is used to bolt on to the mountain bike mounting post and then convert it to Ultra Bee mounting post. And we'll get into exactly how we're going to set this up in a minute. The other parts that come with this are going to be a couple new axle spacers. You'll get bolts for mounting the bracket on, as well as a 240 millimeter front rotor. This will fit the front wheel for Surron Light Bee, Talaria Sting, Talaria XXX, and E-Ride Pro. Pretty much all e-moto bikes use the same front rotor pattern, but if I didn't list your bike, please check it. So the first step is going to be removing the original caliper from the mountain bike caliper. So we're going to use a 5mm hex to remove that. Now we're going to remove the pinch bolts that are part of the front axle. This axle may be a little bit different depending on the bike you have. You'll just want to double check that you have a similar pattern as me on the Fox 40 here. Most mountain bike forks are like this. Now we will remove the axle bolt. And we can drop the wheel out now. Next up, we're going to remove the original rotor. And now we can install our new rotor. So a couple things to take note of when installing the new rotor. You'll want to look at the direction that the fins were going. Previously. You want these fins to be going with the direction of rotation so that your caliper is sliding across them rather than against them. So we'll just pay attention to how we took it off. We'll align it with the fins. You'll notice the label may be on the other side. It doesn't matter. We want it to go with the fins, right? So we'll get our alignment set. As you can see, perfect fit with the bolt pattern. And then we're going to use those original screws that we took out that were holding the old rotor in, and we're going to use the same screws to install the new rotor. There we go. So there's a couple parts to this. We won't need this anymore. We're going to put in our new axle spacer. So you'll notice that these spacers are not identical. So one spacer is taller than the other. You see that? We're going with the taller one for this side. So this is going to go right in there. It doesn't have to fit perfectly. What it just needs to do is sit there and act as a spacer. Maybe we'll take it out for now. So we can go to the other side. Pull that one out. Put our spacer in. This will be the shorter one. install the longer one back in here. While you're removing the front brake lever from your original mountain bike brakes, it's going to be attached through the brake sensor, and that brake sensor is going to go all the way down in here, and it's going to go into a connector that looks similar to the headlight plug. It's a little bit different. But we also at mbzmoto.com, if you order from us, we'll have an adapter that allows you to plug straight into the original brake sensor connector, and it will be compatible with the Ultra Bee brakes. Alright, next we need to do a couple things with the brake set itself. So firstly, this little bracket here is part of the OEM Ultra Bee mounting, so we don't need this, but we do need the pins that are in it. What we need to do here is pop this off this way. You'll notice this plastic block that's holding the brake pads apart. It kind of gets in the way a little bit. Sometimes you can squeeze it over if you apply a little bit of force, or you can take some clippers and cut off the corner there so it's a little easier to take out without taking the spreader out. You want to keep this black plastic piece in until right before you mount the caliper. There we go. So here are these mounting posts. This mounting post you can leave in the caliper. This rubber washer you can also leave in the caliper. We need to remove the mounting post from here, and we need to remove the rubber bit from here. So I got the pin out of the bracket. This can be a little bit tricky sometimes because they put Loctite on these from the factory. So I actually had to put this in a vise to get it out. But whatever way you can, sometimes adding a little bit of heat helps. And then you'll also need to take this rubber piece out right here. So this will go into the slot here. You'll have to kind of fold it to get it in, but it should stick right in there. And then we're going to put this other pin into there. And for that one, we want to use a little bit of blue Loctite as well. We do not want this coming out. Alright, and then we'll tighten it up. This uses a 12mm wrench. We don't need to get it Hercules tight like it was before on the OEM bracket. Just sufficiently tight. It's not going to fall out, and the Loctite will help us out with that. And then one other thing I like to do with these, so if you use bash guards, you may notice that these Ultra Bee brakes are significantly larger than the Light Bee brakes. And sometimes they won't fit inside of bash guards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece off. This is an optional step. If you don't have bash guards on your Light Bee, you won't need to do this. You can actually mount Ultra Bee bash guards using this bracket, but I don't like it, so I'm going to cut it off. Alright, and now we've removed the bash guard mount. We're ready to mount our brake lever. You might have to play around with the position a little bit to make sure it's just how you want it in the right place, but for now we just need to get it on there. So now it's time to get ready to mount our caliper using this bracket. Something to note is that the screws included with the kit, they may not fit certain forks that don't have deep enough threads here. So you can just test fit this by screwing it on and see if it'll work. But you also may need you may need to use the original caliper mounting bolts instead. If the ones that come with the kit are too long, you can just use the original ones. It's the exact same thread type and it'll work perfect. Alright, so now it's time to install the caliper mounting bracket. Once you've figured out which size screws you need, just get them ready. And you want to mount this with the post facing outwards. I'm going to screw it down nice and tight. We don't need to do any adjustment at this point. Now we're ready to put the caliper on. We just need to remove this black plastic spacer. The way I like to do this is with some pliers. It can sometimes be in there pretty tight. If it's in there too tight, you can always pull the brake pads out and try to get it that way. But this is preventing the brake pads from closing up on you in transit. Alright, if you can't get this black piece out no matter what you try, you'll remove the two screws that hold the brake pads in, and then you should be able to pry the pads out. It takes some force, but they can be pried right out of the caliper. Alright, you'll see spacer can be removed, and the brake pads will go back together. Spacer in there. Spring. And they get installed back into the caliper. Just like that. There we go. It's mounted. And just make sure that clip is all the way on there. It should be touching the pads. There we go. And your caliper should go back and forth like this. Another thing you can do is we'll want to set the rubber boots a little bit in, so push it real good. Try to get those rubber boots seated. Alright. Now we're ready to install the wheel again. Alright, our front wheel is mounted. Now we just need to tighten the axle. You don't want to over tighten the axle. It just needs to be, finger tight essentially. And then the pinch bolts is what holds it down. Some people prefer to use a torque wrench for the pinch bolts. You can torque it to spec. I would recommend that. So you'll notice when you first install these brakes, they may rub a little bit. So now that they're installed, the first thing we need to do is bed them in, as well as wear them down a little bit. They're fresh brake pads, so they're bound to rub. So we'll just ride on them. It takes about 50 to 100 miles to break in, and then they should run very smoothly. They still run smoothly out of the box. They just have a slight break-in period you need to get through. And that is how you install Ultra Bee brakes on your Sur-Ron Light Bee using the MBZ Moto front brake conversion kit. You can get one for yourself at mbzmoto.com. Every Ultra Bee brake kit comes with a free brake sensor adapter for plug-and-play installation on the Sur-Ron Light Bee. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you guys next time.